Hey there, hoop fans. It's Kokan, your go-to guru for all things roundball, fondly known to the community as Tips and Streams. We're not just dribbling around here. We're talking serious plays and epic showdowns. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of the NBA, breaking down some of the most anticipated matchups that are about to set the court on fire. But wait, before we jump into the action, do me a favor. Slam dunk that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Why? Because you don't want to miss out on our expert analysis, predictions, and those secret top picks that might just give you bragging rights among your friends. All right, fellow ballers, let's lace up and dive in. The first today's prediction is for matchup between Memphis Grizzlies and Detroit Pistons. This season's got the Memphis Grizzlies hustling hard, but still lagging with a 5-14 scorecard, landing them 14th in the Western Conference. Players like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Santi Aldama are making waves in scoring, grabbing boards, and dishing assists. But their field goal game is hitting a snag at 43.1%, chilling at the 30th spot in the league, with their three-point game not faring much better at 32.6%. Meanwhile, the Detroit Pistons are grinding at the bottom of the Eastern Conference with a 2-18 record. They've got some muscle in the rebound department, snagging 7th place with 45.5 rebounds per game. Their shooting's a notch above the Grizzlies at 46.2%, but they're also fumbling in the three-point zone at 34.8%. When it comes to Memphis versus Detroit face-offs, the Grizzlies have been owning the court. In their last 10 showdowns, it's Memphis leading the charge with a 7-3 victory lap. Especially in their latest 3 games, they've been schooling the Pistons with scoreboard blitzes like 114, 103, 122, 112, and a whopping 132, 107. This power play is happening both at their crib and away, showing Memphis has the upper hand. In basketball lingo, we'd say the Memphis Grizzlies are holding court with their impressive head-to-head stats and game-changing players. They might not be league leaders, but their recent showdowns, especially with the Pistons, showcase their scoring and rebounding prowess. They're poised to jump over this season's obstacles like they're going for a slam dunk. However, the plot thickens with the Pistons. They're on a 17-game losing streak, a dubious record for them, yet there's more to their struggles than just on-court performance. They've got a solid team. I've got a gut feeling about this, and I'm rolling with the underdog. Here's the game plan. I'm backing the Detroit Pistons to outplay the odds and win against the spread. Despite their recent rough patch and long losing streak, it feels like they're due for a turnaround. I'm betting on the Pistons with a 1.5-point advantage. The next prediction is for the match between Orlando Magic and Cleveland Cavaliers. In Cleveland, the stage is set for a showdown with the Cavaliers, boasting a solid 11-9 record, going head-to-head with Orlando's impressive 14-6. The Cavaliers have home court advantage at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, a bastion where they've historically dominated Orlando. Reminiscing about last season's games in Cleveland, the Cavaliers consistently outmaneuvered the Magic with victories like 107-96 and 103-92. However, Orlando's recent surge, highlighted by a 9-game winning streak only halted by the Nets, showcases their formidable form. Orlando shines statistically, especially in offensive efficiency, where they rank 19th compared to the Cavaliers' 22nd, in defensive efficiency at 3rd against the Cavaliers' 8th, and in rebound rate at 5th versus the Cavaliers' 16th. These figures underscore Orlando's ability to dictate the game's rhythm and clinch crucial second-chance points. However, Cleveland's defensive strength is not to be underestimated, conceding just 108.8 points per 100 possessions, placing them 8th league-wide, indicating a potential defensive showdown. Individually, both teams feature standout players. Orlando's Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are scoring phenomenally, while Cleveland's Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are significant contributors. The individual duels will be key in shaping the game's flow and outcome. Looking at recent performances and past encounters in Cleveland, the scales are slightly tipped in favor of the Cavaliers. Their home court advantage and marginally superior season performance give them an edge, yet Orlando's recent form, marked by resilience and an ability to upset predictions, especially with their winning streak, is noteworthy. In basketball, let's break down the upcoming Orlando versus Cleveland showdown. Orlando's got some slick moves and stats lately, but don't count out the Cavaliers. They're playing on their home court, and history shows they've got a knack for outplaying Orlando in Cleveland. The bookies are leaning towards Cleveland, setting them at a 5-point advantage, with the total scoreboard not expected to surpass 293.5. That's a nod to the solid defense both teams bring to the court. This game's looking like a buzzer beater, with every second counting. Orlando's 5-point head start might just be the game changer in covering the spread. I'm placing my bets on the Orlando Magic with that 5-point cushion. Voto. The next prediction is for the match between Philadelphia 76ers and Washington Wizards. Riding high with a commendable 12-7 record, the Philadelphia 76ers are stepping into the Capital One Arena as the clear favorites, squaring off against the Washington Wizards, who are currently grappling with a challenging 3-16 tally. The 76ers, favored by 10 points, have been dominating the hardwood with an impressive offensive play, averaging a hefty 120.1 points per game, while defensively they hold the 14th spot league-wide. Their prowess isn't just limited to scoring, they're masters of the boards too, pulling down an average of 45.1 rebounds per game, alongside a noteworthy 37.7% accuracy from beyond the arc. Their scoring game really lights up at home with 123.1 points per game, though they still manage a solid 116.8 points on the road. The Wizards, in stark contrast, have been struggling to keep pace, trailing by an average of 3 points per game, and languishing at the bottom in rebounding with only 39.1 boards per game. Their defense also raises eyebrows, conceding an average of 125.1 points. Curiously, their scoring dips at home to 112.9 points per game. The 76ers roster boasts heavy hitters like Joel Embiid, dropping 32.0 points and 11.3 rebounds per game, and Therese Maxey adding 27.0 points to the scoreboard. On the Wizards side, Kyle Kuzma is a beacon of hope with his 23.6 points per game average. The injury report throws a curveball into the mix, with the Wizards nursing several key players, including Jordan Poole and Landry Shamet, both doubtful for the upcoming battle. The 76ers have their own concern, with DeAnthony Melton listed as questionable. Reflecting on their recent encounters, the 76ers have consistently outplayed the Wizards. Their last showdown on November 6, 2023, saw a commanding 146-128 victory for the 76ers in Philly. However, the Wizards managed a narrow win in their last home game against the 76ers. Weighing up the current form, head-to-head history, and overall team dynamics, the 76ers appear poised for victory. Their offensive thrust and rebounding supremacy give them a distinct advantage. Yet, the Wizards, defending their home court, might just have enough in their arsenal to cover the spread. Hence, my bet is on the Washington Wizards to not only hold their ground, but to cover the +10 spread. The next prediction is for the match between Brooklyn Nets and Atlanta Hawks. Breaking down the upcoming clash between the Brooklyn Nets and the Atlanta Hawks, we're gearing up for an electrifying Eastern Conference brawl. Set to unfold at State Farm Arena, both squads are hitting the court with contrasting styles. The Nets, flaunting a 10-9 record and sitting 9th in the Eastern Conference, are showing off a well-rounded gameplay, especially with their top-tier rebounding, leading the league with an impressive 48.2 rebounds per game. Their offense is nothing short of powerful, averaging a hefty 116.7 points per game, which puts them at 8th in the league. However, their defense isn't shining as bright, giving up 114.0 points per game and ranking 19th. On the flip side, the Hawks, with a 9-10 record, are right behind at 10th in the Eastern Conference. They're packing some serious offensive heat, racking up the second highest points per game in the league at a staggering 123.2. Their defense, though, isn't quite up to par, lagging at 27th with opponents scoring 122.8 points per game. They're holding their own in rebounds and assists, ranking 12th with 44.2 rebounds and 20th with 25.4 assists per game. Looking at their head-to-head track record, the Nets have been having the upper hand over the Hawks, leading 6-4 in their last 10 showdowns. But it's been a close call, with both teams evenly splitting the spread and over-under at 5-5. In these games, the Nets have slightly outperformed the Hawks, scoring an average of 119.7 points compared to the Hawks' 118.3. Digging into their stats, the Nets and Hawks are neck and neck in field goal percentages, with the Hawks just nudging ahead with 47.39% against the Nets' 47.19%. In three-point shooting, the Nets are a tad better, scoring 38.93% over the Hawks' 37.05%. And in rebounds, the Nets are leading again with 47.67 total rebounds per game, compared to the Hawks' 44.44. These numbers are key, especially when you consider how critical field goal and three-point percentages, along with rebounding, are in swaying the outcome of NBA battles. Given their recent form in this specific venue, the upcoming game is set to be a nail-biter. The Nets, with their dominant rebounding and a slight edge in three-point shooting, seem ready to take on the Hawks' offensive might. However, the Hawks have the home turf advantage and a marginally better field goal percentage, which could tip the scales in this face-off. All things considered, this matchup is shaping up to be a close one, with the Brooklyn Nets slightly tipped to come out on top. Their rebounding prowess and three-point shooting might just be the game changers in a high-scoring duel. The Hawks' formidable offense will surely make it a tough fight, but the Nets could edge it out, especially given their recent head-to-head history and statistical upper hand in key areas. To wrap it up, my bet is on the Brooklyn Nets to beat the spread. Their balanced attack and defense, combined with their superior rebounding and three-point skills, give them a solid chance against the Atlanta Hawks in this much-anticipated Eastern Conference clash. I'm backing the Brooklyn Nets to clear the plus 4-point spread. The next prediction is for the match between Miami Heat and Toronto Raptors. The Miami Heat, with a balanced 11-9 record and a split 6-6 in away games, face off against the Toronto Raptors, who are trailing slightly at 9-11 but show a stronger home game with a 6-5 record. Diving into their stats, Miami boasts an impressive 103.1 average points per game, shooting 47.3% from the field and shining at a 38.6% rate from beyond the arc. Toronto, while scoring a decent 111.2 points per game, lags slightly in field goal accuracy at 46.2% and trails in three-point efficiency at 33.7%. The Raptors excel in grabbing rebounds, averaging 46.1 per game, outmatching Miami's 40.7. When looking back at their previous encounters, particularly at the Scotiabank Arena, Toronto often comes out on top. This historical dominance, coupled with the advantage of playing on their home court, might be key in swinging the game their way. Injuries are a critical factor in this showdown. Miami grapples with the absence of heavy hitters like Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, and the uncertain status of Josh Richardson. These gaps, especially Adebayo's, dent their rebounding and scoring prowess. Toronto faces fewer injury woes, with only Christian Koloko sidelined and Grady Dick a maybe. Reviewing their recent form, both squads show patches of struggle. Miami's defense appears shaky, ranking 23rd in overall defensive field goal percentage and trailing at 26th in defending the three-pointer. Their offense, however, remains a threat, especially from downtown, where they rank third. Toronto has stumbled in their latest outings, dropping 3 out of 4, including a notable defeat to the Knicks. Their scoring and shooting accuracy hover around the 23rd spot, and their three-point game is languishing at 28th in the league. The Raptors see a golden chance to exploit Miami's depleted roster and rebounding shortcomings. The absence of Miami's key players like Adebayo and Harrow could tip the scales in Toronto's favor, allowing them to reign supreme on the boards and seize second-chance scoring opportunities. In some, factoring in the historical face-offs in Toronto, the current team metrics and injury updates, the needle points to a Raptors triumph. They are poised to leverage Miami's defensive cracks and rebounding frailties, particularly with Miami missing crucial players. Thus, the smart bet is on the Raptors to not just win but also cover the spread. My wager is on the Toronto Raptors at a spread of -2.5. The next prediction is for the match between San Antonio Spurs and Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight's showdown at the Target Center is like a basketball tale of David versus Goliath in the NBA arena. The San Antonio Spurs, hustling with a tough 3-16 record, are set to face off against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are riding high with an impressive 15-4 scorecard. The hardwood in Minneapolis is primed for a gripping face-off. Offensively, the Timberwolves are throwing down big numbers, averaging a solid 112.28 points each game. They're shooting with a hot hand, boasting a field goal percentage of 48.17% and draining threes at a rate of 37.10%. The Spurs, in comparison, are trailing a bit with 111.53 points per game, shooting a field goal percentage of 45.93% and hitting 35.0% from downtown. When it comes to grabbing boards, Minnesota's got the upper hand, snagging an average of 45.17 rebounds per game, leaving the Spurs behind with 42.32. This rebounding edge could be a game changer, especially in snagging those crucial second chance points. In their recent head-to-heads, the Timberwolves have been schooling the Spurs. In their last 10 matchups, Minnesota's leading the series 7-3. And when it comes to their home court battles in Minneapolis, the Timberwolves have been dominating. Take their latest clash on November 10, 2023, where Minnesota clinched a 117-110 victory with their sharpshooting nailing 49.40% from the field compared to San Antonio's 46.70%. Don't forget the high-octane game on April 8, 2023, where Minnesota dazzled with a mammoth 151-131 win, thanks to their sizzling 55.40% shooting accuracy. However, the Spurs did have their moment in the spotlight, taking home a 107-98 win on October 30th, 2022, outshining the Timberwolves on their turf. Player health and availability are always game changers, but as it stands, there aren't any major injuries to tip the scales. All things considered, the Timberwolves' stellar performance, especially on their home court, combined with their sharpshooting and rebounding prowess, make them the hot favorites tonight. Their consistent field goal scoring and recent dominance over the Spurs in Minneapolis further seal the deal. Heading into tonight's big game, I'm leaning towards a win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have the offensive prowess to outdo the spread, given their recent streak of outplaying the Spurs at the Target Center. But, with the Timberwolves experiencing a slight dip in their usual rhythm, my ultimate prediction is a high-scoring game. I'm envisioning the San Antonio Spurs and Minnesota Timberwolves together pushing the total score beyond 227. The next prediction is for the match between Charlotte Hornets and Chicago Bulls. The Charlotte Hornets, sitting at a 6-12, are chilling at the 12th spot in the Eastern Conference. They're dropping an average of 113.8 points each game, ranking 16th across the league. On the boards, they're snagging 44.1 rebounds per game, also good for 16th, and dishing out 25.6 assists per game, landing them at 17th. But their defense is dropping the ball, letting teams score 122.2 points per game on them, which is 26th in the league. Their ace, LaMelo Ball, is benched with an injury, hitting 24.7 points, 8.2 assists, and 5.5 rebounds per game. Frank Ntilikina and Cody Martin are also riding the pine, making it tough for the Hornets. Over to the Chicago Bulls with a 7-14 record and sitting 13th in the Eastern. They're averaging 107.7 points per game, placing them 28th in the league. Their rebound game is at 41.2 per game, ranking 26th, and their assists are at 22.9 per game, which is 29th. Both their offense and defense are struggling, especially letting opponents score 113.1 points per game on them, placing them 16th in the league. The Bulls are also feeling the heat with injuries, missing key players like Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine. Looking at their past 10 showdowns, the Bulls have dominated the Hornets, holding an 8-2 record. In their recent face-offs, the Bulls have outclassed the Hornets in scoring, shooting, and rebounding. The Hornets are fresh off a 123-117 beatdown by the Timberwolves, while the Bulls' recent games have been a mixed bag. This inconsistency is key, as it could sway the outcome of their next clash. The opening betting lines had the Bulls as favorites, with a minus 5-point spread, thanks to their historical upper hand over the Hornets. But the line has since shifted to minus 4.5, showing a slight dip in confidence. The over-under is set at 220, up from 209.5, hinting at a high-scoring affair. Wrapping it up, considering the current form, past stats, player injuries, and the odds, the Chicago Bulls look set to take this one. Both teams have stepped up their game recently, but the Hornets are feeling the sting of missing LaMelo Ball more than the Bulls missing Zach LaVine. This, along with their historical dominance, tilts the scales in favor of the Bulls. So, I'm betting on the Bulls to win, but I'm backing the Hornets to beat the spread. I'm placing my bets on the Charlotte Hornets plus 5. The next prediction is for the match between Oklahoma City Thunder and Houston Rockets. The Oklahoma City Thunder are storming through this season with some jaw-dropping numbers. They're sinking buckets at a phenomenal 49.2% from the field and nailing 40.2% of their shots from downtown. On the boards, they're beasts, snagging 85.2% of the offensive rebounds, clocking in at an average of 109. 5 points each game. Their scoring game and rebounding muscle are major factors in their playbook for victory. In the other corner, the Houston Rockets are also lighting up the scoreboard with an average of 110.1 points per game, showcasing their firepower on offense. Yet, when it comes to pulling down rebounds and dishing out assists, they're trailing behind the Thunder, grabbing 43.9 rebounds and making 26.2 assists per game. Looking back at their previous face-offs, it's been a real nail-biter of a series. Both squads have had their moments in the spotlight, trading wins and losses. But lately, it's the Thunder who've been bringing the thunder, edging out the Rockets in their recent clashes. Diving into their latest form, the Thunder have clinched 3 wins in their last 5 showdowns, a notch above the Rockets, who've secured 2 victories in their last 5 games. A snag in my playbook. I couldn't get my hands on the injury reports for either team, which could be a game changer in predicting the final score. Weighing their stats and recent form, the Oklahoma City Thunder seem to have the upper hand with their stellar shooting and rebounding. They're poised to dominate the court with their efficient scoring and board-crashing skills. Now, when it comes to the Houston Rockets, I admit my bias. Coach Ime Udoka is a maestro of strategy, the top dog in the league, in my eyes. So, my prediction is a bit offbeat. I'm putting my chips on the Rockets to beat the spread. I'm all in on Houston Rockets plus 3. The next prediction is for the match between Utah Jazz and Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks are ballin' hard, ranked 6th in the Western Conference with a solid 11-8 record. They're dropping an impressive 118.2 points per game, also 6th in the league. However, they're a bit light in the rebound and assist departments, only snagging 42. 8.4 boards and dishing out 25.1 assists per game, putting them at 23rd and 24th in the league, respectively. Their defense is letting through 118.0 points per game from the opposition. On the flip side, the Utah Jazz, sitting 12th in the West with a 7-13 record, are netting an average of 112.1 points per game, landing them at 21st in the league. But they're beasts on the boards, pulling down 47.3 rebounds per game, the third highest in the league. Their assist game is solid at 26.6 per game, ranking 8th, but they've got some defensive gaps, giving up 118.5 points per game. When it comes to shooting, the Mavericks are more on target, boasting a field goal percentage of 46.41%, outshooting the Jazz's 44.69%. They also lead in three-point territory, sinking 37.01% against Utah's 35.20%. But the Jazz have the edge at the charity stripe, hitting 80.61% of their free throws compared to Dallas's 73.71%. In their last 10 showdowns, Dallas dominates with a 7-3 record. They have also got the edge against the spread this season, going 6-4, while Utah trails at 4-6. Both squads share a similar over-under record of 3-6-1. In their last face-off on March 7, 2023, Dallas clinched a victory over Utah 120-116 at the American Airlines Center. Dallas is facing some lineup uncertainties with key players like Tim Hardaway Jr., Kyrie Irving, and Grant Williams listed as questionable. Utah is going to feel the absence of Kelly Olynyk, Jordan Clarkson, and Lauri Markkanen. The opening odds are leaning towards Dallas with a -9-point spread, showing confidence in their upper hand over Utah. Looking at the stats and recent performances, Dallas Mavericks seem to be the favorites in this matchup. They've got a higher scoring average, better shooting efficiency, and a stronger recent game record. Utah's injury woes, especially missing key players like Clarkson and Markkanen, seem to favor Dallas. But considering Utah's rebounding prowess, I'm predicting a closer game than the bookies think. My money's on Utah Jazz +9. The next prediction is for the match between Denver Nuggets and Los Angeles Clippers. Tonight's NBA face-off is set to be a high-voltage clash at the Crypto.com arena, with the Denver Nuggets dribbling against the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers, tagged as slight front-runners with a 56% win probability by the odds makers, boast a mixed bag of 9-10. They're shooting a decent 46.9% from the field, ranking 19th and nailing 36.3% beyond the arc, good for 14th place. Watch out for Kawhi Leonard dropping 23.5 points and dishing 6.4 assists, and James Harden adding 21.8 points to the scoreboard. Their defense is no joke either, sitting 7th by conceding only 108.1 points per game. The Nuggets, steered by the powerhouse Nikola Jokic with a stellar line of 24.5 points, 11.8 boards, and 9.8 assists per game, are dominating the West with a 53-29 record. They are crushing it in offensive ratings, scoring 117.6 points per game, ranking 5th in the league, and sinking three-pointers at 37.9%, which is 4th best. However, their 15th-ranked defense lets in 114.2 points on average. After their recent scoring frenzy of 132 points against the Spurs, blowing past their season average of 113.1, they're looking unstoppable. In their recent matchups, the Nuggets have had the upper hand over the Clippers, going 4-1 against the spread and averaging 119 points to the Clippers' 106. This dominance is key, but contrasting this is the Nuggets' recent road bumps, winning just 1 out of their last 5 away games, while the Clippers have held down the fort at home, winning 4 out of their last 5 as favorites. My breakdown gives the Clippers a slight advantage, thanks to their defensive clout and the Nuggets' road woes. I'm predicting a nail-biter with a 113-1-12 finish in favor of the Clippers. The big question is if the Nuggets can buck their road slump and if the Clippers can leverage their defensive edge. To wrap up, I'd back the Clippers to snatch this one and beat the spread, given their defensive edge and the Nuggets' recent stumbles on the road. This forecast is a mix of current stats, historical face-offs, and team dynamics, hinting at a cliffhanger with the Clippers just squeezing through. I'm not putting money on this, but my bet is on the Clippers, especially if Jamal Murray's not in the Nuggets lineup. Safe bet? No, it is not, but I expect the Clippers to win and cover the spread. The last prediction for today is for the match between Portland Trail Blazers and Golden State Warriors. The Warriors, dribbling in with a 9-11 record, are set to defend their turf against the Trail Blazers, who are hustling through the season at 6-13. This face-off is more than just a game. It's a court battle where both squads are gunning to climb up the leaderboard. Breaking down the game tape, let's talk strategy. The Trail Blazers, though stumbling a bit, have had their moments of hoop magic, but they need to find their rhythm, especially when they're balling on the road. The Warriors, they've had a seesaw season but shine brighter on their home hardwood, which could be a game changer in this showdown. When we're talking history, these two have had some epic clashes, especially on the Warriors' home ground at the Chase Center. That home court vibe could be the Warriors' secret weapon, considering their record there. Let's stack up the stats. The Warriors pack a punch with their offensive hustle, dominating in shooting stats both inside and outside the perimeter. They're also aces at grabbing boards. The Trailblazers, though in a slump, are no pushovers. Watch out for their fast breaks and tight D. Injury timeout. The Warriors have Gary Payton on the bench, while the Blazers are missing Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton, with Anthony Simmons as a maybe. This injury lineup is key to predicting how the game will unfold, so keep your eyes on the latest updates. Weighing all this, the Warriors seem to have the edge with home court advantage and stronger stats, especially in shooting and rebounding. They're the favorites to not only bag the win, but also beat the spread with their clutch performance history. But hold up, don't count out the Blazers just yet. With Malcolm Brogdon back in action and possibly Anthony Simmons, they're bringing their A-game. This clash could be a lot tighter than expected. My bet is on the Blazers to beat the 13-point spread. Remember, in basketball, expect the unexpected. All right, hoopheads, that's the buzzer for today's predictions. Big thanks for rolling with us. If you're vibing with our picks, slam that subscribe button and get on board. Catch you on the court tomorrow. Peace.